All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dinah Kinard. I'm the Director of Admission Partnerships and Programs at St. Edward's University. It's wonderful to be with you today. Thank you so much for joining us. This presentation today focuses on our partnership with Washington University in St. Louis, and specifically our partnership in engineering. So you can learn more about how you can pursue that program here at St. Edward's and then continue on to WashU. We have a fantastic presentation prepared for you today, where you will hear from Dr. Paul Walter, as well as some students who are in the program. But before I turn it over and introduce Dr. Walter, let me just go over a few logistics related to Zoom. I think everyone's pretty familiar with Zoom at this point, but just a reminder that to ask any questions, you will want to use the Q&A tool that's in your Zoom webinar toolbar. We were not using chat today. So if you have questions, if questions kind of come up throughout the presentation, please drop them into the Q&A tool. We have about a 20-minute presentation, formal presentation first, and then we'll pivot and take questions after the formal presentation. So if you have questions that come up along the way, just feel free to add them, and we'll get to them as we get to the close of the formal presentation. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Paul Walter. He's Associate Professor of Physics here at St. Edward's University. He's also the academic advisor for students who are pursuing the dual degree program with Washington University. And I'm excited to turn it over to Dr. Walter.
Thanks, Dinah. Hi, everybody. Welcome. And yes, we have an engineering partnership with Washington University in St. Louis, which just goes by WashU for short. And students can pursue a mathematics major at St. Edward's for 3 years, and then spend 2 or 3 years at WashU as an engineering major and receive degrees from both institutions. So we have this partnership in place. One of my main take homes right from the get-go here is just, if you have questions, feel very welcome to reach out and ask. On the last slide, my name is Paul Walter, and I'll have my email there on the last slide. Anytime you have questions about this program, feel very welcome to reach out to me, and I'm happy to help. And if I don't know the answer right away, I'll help find out what the answer is. So just a little bit about Washington University in St. Louis. It's the number 16 ranked national university by US News and World Report. It has about 8,000 undergraduates. At St. Edward's, we have about more like 3,000 undergraduates. And so that kind of gives you a sense. So a bigger institution, and it's very well respected nationally. And one of the better institutions, academically in the country. First, we'll be doing some introductions. So you heard a little bit about myself, and yes, I serve as the academic advisor for any math majors who are pursuing this dual degree program. So in your time at St. Edward's, you'd be working closely with me all through. First, we have a few students here. So at Washington University, we have 6 students that are currently enrolled there, and 3 of them have joined us here today. So first, we'll hear from Alyssa Noel, and she can, so Alyssa, if you'll introduce yourself and just let us know what year you are in the program and what you find interesting about your particular major.
Hi everyone, I'm Alyssa Noel. I am a first-year dual degree student majoring in biomedical engineering, and I find it really interesting that I can help make medical equipment and do work behind the scenes of what happens in a doctor's office.
Thank you very much, Alyssa. And next we'll go to Luisa Ascensio. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Luisa Ascensio. I'm a first-year mechanical engineer, student. And what I find really interesting is how hands-on it could be. Last semester, I didn't have really any hands-on classes, but as I'm getting into more labs, I'm doing a lot more things hands-on, and that's really what I wanted to do as a mechanical engineer. So it's been a lot of fun.
Awesome, thanks a lot. And lastly, we'll hear from Antoine Chamoun-Farah.
Thank you, Dr. Walter. So my name is Antoine. I'm currently a third year here at WashU. So I'm doing the double bachelor's and the master's. So the master's is in engineering management, and the bachelor's in chemical engineering. And I guess something interesting about chemies is that they can basically go into almost any type of job, which is fascinating. It's pretty applicable anywhere.
Right. Well, thanks, and thank you all so much for joining us today. So with the dual degree program, there's a couple of options for it. One is that there's a 3+2 option where you spend your first 3 years as a math major at St. Edward's. And while you're there, you'll be picking up the coursework needed, beforehand, that'll be required for WashU. And then you'll be spending 2 years at WashU. And you saw that with Alyssa, she's doing biomedical engineering. With Luisa, she's doing mechanical engineering. With Antoine, he's doing chemical engineering. And so there's different options, and there's actually 8 different options that we'll get a chance to see there for what type of engineering students can pursue while they are at WashU. Another option is that there's a 3+3 option. So with the 3+3 option, you spend 3 years at St. Edward's, and then you spend the next 3 years at WashU. And when you're done at WashU, then you would be getting both a bachelor's and a master's. So with that extra year, you're also fitting in a master's degree. And all 3 of our students that are joining us here today are going to be pursuing a master's, and Antoine's just about finished up. You'll be graduating here in May, so congratulations, Antoine. So Antoine, can you tell us a bit about what that experience has been like for you?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for congratulating me. I'm also pretty excited. It's honestly been pretty stressful, but rewarding, I guess. It's been very challenging, but I would definitely say having that very strong foundation in mathematics has helped a ton, especially with the upper level engineering classes.
What is your master's in, and what was the coursework like in terms of how it all fit together through the 3 years? Did you do all the master's at work in year 3, or was it kind of spread in as you were going along then?
That's a good question. So the master's is in engineering management. So I was the reason I sort of chose that was I was interested in potentially pursuing an MBA after I graduated. And the way they sort of sold the engineering management master's was it's more of a technical MBA, so sort of like the engineer's MBA. So there's a logic behind that. And in terms of the coursework split between the 3 years, I was in a weird situation because I left after my first semester at WashU to pursue a co-op. So I ended up basically working full-time for a company spring 2019. And then when I came back, based on how the coursework lined up and how the dual degree program was sort of shifted, because I was originally only going to do the 3+2 program, I ended up sort of trying to slip in the master's, if that makes sense. And so in theory, I think if you're going and doing the 3-3 from the start, you'll finish the undergraduate, and then the last year you'll have all your master's classes for the last year. But in my case, it was sort of intertwined, if that makes sense. So I'm currently taking both like the capstone for the master's and the capstone for the undergraduate degree.
Great. Thank you very much. So at WashU, they have the McKelvey School of Engineering, and there's 5 different departments that you can see listed there. And what I wanted to show you next, I'll show you a couple of useful web pages. So this first one is the St. Edward's web page for this particular dual degree program. And so it can be your first place to come, and it describes what we offer. It tells us about the different departments that are participating. Well, that's all the departments in the McKelvey School of Engineering. And then here is information about the degree for a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics at St. Edward's, so you can find out more information about that. And the coursework that you're doing there will help ultimately be, very useful in terms of preparing you for what you would need coursework wise at WashU. So that can be a good web page to take a look at. This next one is a web page of the dual degree program. We'll come back to this later. We'll play a little Where's Waldo, where it's going to be Where's Antoine. So he's in this picture. So some different things that will also be coming back to this page again in just a moment. But one thing that I want to show you is curriculum by program. This is a very useful webpage that can answer a lot of your questions, by the way. So when you go to curriculum by program, you can scroll down here. And what we have is the 8 different majors that are available at WashU in terms of engineering. And so we've seen mechanical engineering and chemical engineering and biomedical engineering as a few of those options. And what can be convenient here too is they have the sample curriculums listed, and that can give you a good idea of the kind of coursework that's going to definitely be required at the home institution, which in this case is St. Edward's. And then the coursework that you would need to complete that particular major. So I can give you a feel for what the courses are like. These links over here will take you to telling you more about the particular department and the degree itself, in more kind of general terms. But here you can see this is the sample curriculum for chemical engineering. And we have, in terms of advanced math classes, Calc 2, Calc 3, differential equations. For each type of engineering that you go into, then there's going to be different options in terms of, or there's going to be different requirements, I should say, in terms of what they're going to be looking for in terms of the other coursework you take aside from the math courses, right? So a math major will definitely make sure you're boned up on all the mathematics that you're going to need. But there will also be other courses that you're going to take, such as physics 1 and 2. You'll be probably taking that with me. But also in the case of like chemical engineering, there's going to be a lot of chemistry, right? Such as organic chemistry, and so particular things to be mindful of. And so if you are pursuing this dual degree program, one note I would say is, let people know early about your interest in it. When we're selecting courses, working through and selecting what courses for you to take, it's something to really be mindful of right from the get-go about making sure everything's going to be on track and lined up. And I'll be there, just reach out to me and I'll be there every step of the way to help with that. Okay, so then sample curriculums are available for any of the different options, and they have a newer option such as environmental engineering that's available. And so then there's whatever your interests are in engineering, then there's a lot of great options here. Okay, so going back here, what are the requirements? In terms of the requirements for the programs, you're going to be spending 3 years at St. Edward's as a mathematics major. That's the major in mind that is going to make certain that in terms of having enough advanced mathematics, for instance, to be enrolling in engineering at WashU. And so then, as I kind of noted there before, depending on what type of engineering you're interested in, that can affect what supplemental courses you take at St. Edward's. So we'll talk about that when you're enrolled at St. Edward's. And then you need to have a 3.25 GPA, both overall and in your math and science courses, right? So you'll have an overall GPA that's going to include your core curriculum courses and everything else. And then you'll have a GPA that's just looking at just your math and science courses. What's your GPA there? And both of those need to be 3.25 or better. But that'll be a great thing where you can really know where you stand in advance. If you meet that bar where you're taking all the required courses that they need and you are meeting that GPA requirement, then you are admitted into the program. So that's a great thing. And it's a great opportunity to then be going on, getting a degree from St. Edward's. We have a great math department with just very caring faculty that are great teachers. And then going on at WashU and also earning an engineering degree from one of the top institutions in the country. So it's just a fantastic opportunity that I'd love to see people take advantage of. When you're at WashU, some things will be transferring back to St. Edward's. And so there'll be particular courses that'll transfer back, but there are going to be particular courses that every engineering major in the program is going to be taking. So it's structured in a particular way. Okay, there's opportunities of things to do before you go, you can learn about WashU before you've gone through 3 years at St. Edward's. You have opportunities to go there. And one of them is you can take JTerm courses. JTerm courses are, I think, 11 days long in late December and early January. And there's a couple of options. One is a statics course and another is a circuits course. And we've had a couple of students here that have done that. Luisa, can you tell us about what your experience was like completing a JTerm course?
Hi, yes, I took the statics and mechanics of materials course over not this past winter, the winter before, and it was very intense to say the least. I did learn a lot. You do sit in a classroom from about 9 a.m. to 5 a.m. with breaks and lunch included. And you also get to explore a little bit of St. Louis. They'll take you to the arch and stuff like that. I really enjoyed it, but it is a lot of work, I will say. It was a good way to meet other dual degree students as well, come in and you'll know some students because you met them at the JTerm and stuff like that. I thought it was a great opportunity, but you will have to work a lot for it and during it.
Great. And Alyssa, tell us about your experience there.
Yes, I second pretty much everything Luisa said. It was a January intensive term. We would go to class, listen in class, listen to the lectures, and then we would come back to the hotel where we were housed and eat dinner and then start on our homework, which we then did for the rest of the night, and then go to sleep and repeat that process the next day. But again, you do meet a lot of incredible people that you wouldn't normally be exposed to. And that's really cool because you get their phone numbers and continue to talk to them throughout the year and then follow up on where they're going to school. And many of them will end up going to WashU. And that is pretty cool because then you have connections going in as a dual degree student.
Yeah, that's great. And yeah, you're already making friends before you even get there. So, or, if it's there for the 3 years. So that's great. That's great. Some things about the JTerm courses, you're getting credit that counts towards your degree at WashU. And it also will transfer back as credit at St. Edward's as well. So it'd be elective credit that would transfer back as a special topics and physics course at St. Edward's. So you're getting credit for that at both institutions. And there's another nice opportunity that we have now for at least the next few years. And that is at St. Edward's, we have an Institute of Interdisciplinary Science, I4. And as part of that, we offer tuition awards for specialized training and micro-credentialing. And the JTerm courses are something that fit into that opportunity. So let me show you just a little something there. Okay, so here, as part of that first page there for the WashU dual degree program, we have also here, we have that information, and it tells us about JTerm and tells you about the eligibility, what kind of coursework would you need before taking one of these JTerm courses. So you have to at least take in Calculus 3, and you need to have a 3.25 GPA already overall and in your science and math courses. But so that's the basic eligibility for the JTerm courses. The other thing I want to show you about here is the Institute for Interdisciplinary Science, this webpage. And so this is a St. Edward's webpage. And so I4 is its name in short, and the tagline is that we're aiming to prepare students for the fourth industrial revolution. So that's where the 4 comes from. But as part of that, we have particular opportunities that are available for students. We can scroll down a little bit on this page. There's a couple of things that can interest you. One, we have paid summer internship opportunities for students, where we have particular partnerships with different companies. But in the context of the JTerm courses, we have tuition awards. And this is something that you can apply to, where if you are interested in taking a JTerm course, you can apply for this. And as a National Science Foundation grant, which encompasses everything related to I4 here, we have funds to pay for students up to $2,000, which $2,000 is about the course, the cost in a normal year for the JTerm courses. But we can cover that cost, and that'll be true through at least 2023. So then that's definitely something to make sure that you take advantage of and speak to me about. I'm part of the leadership team for the Institute of Interdisciplinary Science, and so you can definitely reach out to me with any questions about that, and I help coordinate tuition awards in particular. Okay. Great. Then one other thing I wanted to go ahead and show here was we have summer research opportunities where students can apply to do summer research at WashU. And so they have a couple of different names for that. One is the WashU Summer Engineering Fellowship Program, so it goes by WUSEF. And so this is something that students can do before their 3rd year at St. Edward's. You can pursue this particular kind of option. Antoine, I know you did WUSEF. Can you tell us about your experience there?
Yeah, for sure. So I did WUSEF back the summer of 2017. So I worked with Dr. Fostens from the chemical engineering department, and the project was mainly focused on essentially selectively depolymerizing into a biofuel. So that was sort of the main gist of the project. And it was all summer long. I think it was, I forget if it was 8 or 10 weeks, but basically working 40 hours a week in the lab. And then it was pretty nice though, because I got a chance to sort of explore St. Louis. I had done the JTerm, but it was, like they mentioned, Alyssa and Luisa sort of mentioned that it was very intense. So during the JTerm, you don't get too much time to explore St. Louis, but during WUSEF, definitely had a lot more time to actually get a chance to, see what St. Louis is like during the summer, and also explore WashU a little bit more.
Great, thanks a lot. And they also have different research opportunities by department. And Alyssa, I know you did summer research over at WashU as well before your 3rd year at St. Edward's. Can you tell us about your experience? You're on mute.
I'm sorry, the click didn't work, but yeah. Yes, so I wasn't considered a WUSEF student or internee during the summer of 2019. I was in a thermal management REU, and that's kind of undergraduate research, but I did hang out with a lot of the WUSEF kids in the program, and that was pretty amazing because when you're at St. Edward's, you meet many great people, but during this internship, I met many other engineers, and that really confirmed that the engineering path was something I wanted to do and follow up on. My research was over material science, so it wasn't even over biomedical applications. And I really enjoyed that. I thought personally exploring different labs and seeing all that at WashU was incredible. The facilities at WashU just are amazing to me. I never experienced anything like it. So going over the summer was really cool for me, and I still get to keep in touch with the other students in the program, which I really enjoyed.
That's great. Thank you. So before we get into question A, I wanted to show you one short video here that's just 2.5 minutes long. It helps kind of give a sense for seeing what some of the spaces are like. So I want to show that.
Whoever said the best way to understand something is to create it must have been an engineer. Someone whose nimble fingers work all night building something just to see it fail. Who perseveres past failure, builds it again and again, and sees in every version a new possibility. Who serves the needs of humanity, who tinkers, who creates wealth with information, who uses experience to create knowledge. Someone with the vision to see the largest problems this planet faces and the focus to find truth at the other end of a microscope. Someone who can fashion a tool strong enough to see through walls and delicate enough to see inside the most vulnerable and innocent of us. Someone who can see the galaxies that reside in our bodies, in our blood, who can take the solution to the future and fix the past, who makes sure our light can be seen by future generations, who turns the sea into drinking water, prints limbs from scratch, makes locks from code, who makes houses and cities more intelligent, who uses big data to detect cancer before it starts and lowers response times to those in need. Someone who can reverse engineer antibodies, who creates beneficial partnerships across disciplines, across the world, and moves the physical world with thought. Someone who recreates the fireworks from the sparks as they fall to the ground and can dream the unimaginable, to whom the laser beam is a flashlight, the brain a map, to whom the antennae of insects are the eyes we use to keep those who protect us safe, to whom the pulse is a fingerprint, to whom distances only exist in the mind. Someone who understands that thirst and sickness are real, who stands up and says, we don't have to suffer, stands up and says, I am optimistic to be alive, and means it. And in the points of intersection, in the convergences of knowledge, sees the true face of invention. An engineer is someone who looks at our list of solutions and says, if just one of these ideas can change the world, imagine what they can do together. Imagine what we can do together. An engineer answers the questions, what's next and where do we begin, the same way. And the answer is always here.
Okay, thank you. And gets me excited. It's just such a wonderful opportunity. I'm really excited for the 6 students that we have there. Excited for Antoine, who's just finishing up. And next we'll be kind of going into Q&A. Any questions you have are going to be welcome. And one thing I really do want to emphasize is that that's my email. Feel very welcome to reach out to me with any questions that you have. So in this picture, Antoine's in there. So see if you can find him.
I love it. The picture is like, where in the world is Antoine?
Yep.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that wonderful information, Dr. Walter, and to our students as well, who shared about their experiences. I want to invite all of our panelists, including the students, to turn their cameras on if they want, and be part of kind of the panel for Q&A. Certainly for those who are watching the webinar and attending, we invite you to put your questions in the Q&A tool if there are things that you want to ask of our students or of Dr. Walter, that information that was shared that you want to know more about, or maybe things that weren't talked about that you'd like to know more. So again, to Antoine, to the other students, I encourage you to turn on your camera if you'd like and be part of the panel conversation. Excellent.
Yeah, and so just as a first question, thinking back to when you were getting started at St. Edward's and thinking about this kind of dual degree path, if you were right from the get-go or not, and just any advice you might have for prospective students. And any of you can, jump in. Thanks, Antoine.
Yeah, I guess you sort of already mentioned this a little bit before, but I think the most important thing is, especially if you already know that you are interested, sort of go to the WashU website and see what courses, or first see what engineering you're potentially interested in. Especially like, for example, chemical engineering, you may need to make sure you get those the chemistry classes, right? So I would definitely recommend speaking with Dr. Walter and making sure that you're essentially following that little template that they have, just so everything lines up in the 3 years that you're going to be at St. Ed's. And I guess one more thing is the sort of the templates that they have may look intimidating in terms of the classes you have to take at WashU, in terms of the course load. And one thing I would, I guess, sort of advise is that not always you'll have to like take all those classes. Some of your upper level math classes, for example, I took abstract algebra and real analysis. They can actually end up counting as electives in your engineering at WashU. So taking off a little bit of that course load.
Yeah, that's great.
I would also say that yes, the like sample course load looks intimidating, and if you're having doubts that you want to do this but maybe you shouldn't, I would say you should pursue it because you can do it. Anyone can do it, and you should have that confidence in yourself that you can.
Thanks. Or go ahead, Alyssa.
Also, when it comes to the math courses, some of them will be difficult, but they're there to help you in the future. Like right now, I'm taking a numerical methods course, and it's a bunch of linear algebra that I took back at St. Edward's. And so making sure that you have good notes so you can reference them in the future when you're in future classes will help a lot to make sure that you can understand you will understand the math better, for sure.
Right, we had a question here in the chat, and you've spoken to this a fair amount already, but it's how did your time at St. Edward's prepare you for your engineering classes at WashU? So any feedback on that, maybe related to your math courses or the courses that you had to take that were courses that were required before going into heading over to WashU?
Yeah, I guess I can go first. So yes, I spoke on this a little bit ago, but I would definitely say it helped build a very strong foundation. I remember so most chemical engineers here in the dual degree program are actually chemists for their liberal arts degree. I was one of the only math majors. I remember they were actually sort of like making fun of me, like, why are you doing math and doing chemical engineering? But then when we started actually getting more deeper into the program, they realized how math intensive it is and how little chemistry intensive it was actually. So they're actually like leaning towards me for a little bit of the math help. So I'll definitely say that having that math degree helps a ton. And I guess one more thing to add is, I remember I got a lot of questions I used to get is, why did you just do chemical engineering? Why are you doing sort of both? And I guess the big benefit of the dual degree program is, obviously besides getting 2 full degrees from 2 institutions, is you get both the liberal arts training, so you know how to actually communicate and talk, as well as the technical training. And I would say that one of the biggest downsides of most engineers is that they don't know actually, how to sell their idea. And sort of what this dual degree program does is really trains a sort of well-rounded and full cycle engineer.
Thank you. Thank you. Alyssa or Luisa, do you have anything to add?
Kind of much of what Antoine and Luisa have said. Many courses that I took at St. Ed's, like Cal 3, I can see that being heavily applied in my courses now, and it has really made some of them a lot easier.
Thanks.
Dr. Walter, I'd like to ask our students a little bit about just how they ended up kind of discovering that they wanted to do the engineering program, right, and the dual degree program. So can each of you kind of share a little bit about whether you kind of came to St. Edward's kind of already knowing that you wanted to do that, or if that's something you discovered during your time here at St. Edward's? And if it's something that you kind of discovered during your time here, how did that come about? And when was that you made that kind of discovery? How far along in your program here at St. Edward's?
For me, I decided to come to St. Edward's purely based on their dual degree program. I wanted to go to study engineering, but I didn't want to go to a big school at all because it just wasn't my scene. I didn't really want that kind of environment, I guess. And so once I was looking through and I saw the dual degree program, I thought this was a great idea for me to get still a small school and still study math, because I also liked math in high school as well. So kind of just got the best of all the worlds I really wanted, looking for a college experience.
Yeah, basically the same here. My dad, he's a chemical engineer, so he definitely did have a big influence on that end. But I would say coming to St. Edward's, sort of like Luisa was saying, I had the same mindset. I was interested in doing the dual degree program, and I was a little bit on edge, on just purely doing math and sort of not doing the engineering program. But I would say once I got into those upper level math classes, when they started getting very abstract, I needed a way to sort of apply it hands on. So that's sort of why I lean more towards the engineering side.
When I came to St. Edward's, I thought I wanted to be a physical therapist until the WashU liaison, I think, came to St. Edward's and spoke to me individually in a meeting that I set up with my counselor at St. Edward's, and they talked to me about the program, and that's how I learned about it. And that was my first semester at St. Edward's, and that's when I decided, okay, maybe this is what I want to do, because I knew I liked math and I did not know about engineering, but I went with it and it was a good decision.
That's awesome. Well, I love that we have variety among our student panelists, and that some of you kind of came to St. Edward's intentionally kind of knowing that you wanted to do the dual degree program, and some of you, like Alyssa, discovered kind of once you were here. Because we know that's often the case, and in the admission office, we often talk to students who are kind of thinking one thing when they come into college, and then perhaps kind of discover an opportunity or a passion in a different area kind of once they're in the college environment. So I think it's one of the real benefits at St. Edward's that students are given so much opportunity to kind of have that time to explore, right? To come in to the university setting as a freshman and either confirm what they already knew they wanted to pursue, right? Or perhaps kind of discover a new direction they want to go, and that the university, the way that the curriculum is laid out here at St. Edward's and the opportunities among the different schools within the university allow for that exploration and opportunity, because so many students are still trying to figure it out when they arrive to college. Dr. Walter, I'll turn it over to you for any last questions for our panelists.
I don't have any others. I think we covered a lot of ground. I would just recap that if you have any questions to contact me, feel very welcome to reach out anytime, and very, very happy to help.
Excellent. Well, I have one more question, and this is probably on the mind of a lot of students watching this webinar. But for those students who are nervous about their ability to be successful academically in the program, right? What would you say is kind of the thing that's most important to kind of have under your belt as a student kind of coming in to pursue the dual degree program? So whether that's something that's tangible, like an academic credential or coursework in high school, or maybe something that's intangible, right? Certain type of, kind of study skills, et cetera. I guess what I'm asking and what I'm getting at is for those students who are nervous that maybe they don't have the ability to be successful in this program, or that it's going to be too much for them, what would you say to those students?
Yeah, I think that's honestly a great point, because I remember when I first came up here, I had that sort of imposter syndrome, thinking like there was an error in the admission cycle, I should not be here. I don't have like the intellectual capability, But I would say the thing that sort of made me feel a lot better was you got to remember that with this dual degree program, with this nationwide dual degree program, you're not there by yourself. You'll have an incoming class of around 80 to 100 other students, who are literally in the same exact boat as you. They did 3 to 4 years at their home institution, and then they sort of got taken out and then put at WashU. So you definitely have other people and people who have done this sort of, help build you up.
I agree with that. You shouldn't be afraid to ask for help, whether at St. Edward's or at WashU, because your advisors are there to help you. Like, as long as you stay on that path, everything you need kind of will fall into place. Because at St. Edward's, I went to the internship thinking, oh my gosh, I have to know MATLAB, which you don't really learn that at St. Edward's, but at WashU, they teach you that. And that was part of the intro biomedical course that I took. So I was kind of scared and nervous for somewhat nothing. So I would just say, as you follow the program, it gets easier. And when I did need help, I asked for it with my other students in the program and my advisors and teachers.
Just like they said, there are a lot of students here that are dual degrees, and you guys will form like a clique within yourselves because a lot of dual degrees understand each other. And so we have a lot of group projects, and since we know other dual degrees in our same classes, we work with them, and it just ends up being really nice because you know what they've been through because it's similar to what you did. And so there's nothing to be scared of because they're all really super nice and really easy to get along with here. So it'll just be a very different change of pace once you get here from the math to the engineering. But other than that, it's a good time.
Well, thank you for sharing that, students. And one final question before we kind of wrap up. I know some of you are kind of further along in the program than others, but can each of you share maybe what your plan is at this point in terms of what you want to do once you receive that that credential in engineering and you've kind of completed both degrees, kind of what you envision doing for yourself in that next step?
Okay, so I'll go first since I'm graduating. So I'm actually doing even more school. I'm going back to UT Austin, so I'm gonna be doing a PhD in chemical engineering.
I personally do not know yet. I do know I want to go into industry, but with my upcoming 2 years left at WashU, I'm hoping to gain more experience and narrow it down into what I want to do. I know I want to be a part of making medical devices, and that's something I'll be doing in the upcoming summer to learn more about. So hopefully that'll kind of guide me on the right path and see if that's even what I want to do.
I am also in the same boat as Alyssa, where I'm not entirely sure what I want to do after I graduate. And I know here they help a lot with the Career Center. So I can definitely look into that to see what they offer. But for right now, I think I'm more interested in the area of robotics. So hopefully I can gear my studies towards that for the future.
Excellent. Well, thank you for sharing all of that. And thank you so much to our students for sharing your time today on this Friday afternoon. I know it's at the end of the spring semester and final exams are coming up. So I really appreciate your time being with us today. Dr. Walter, thank you so much for contributing your expertise and overview about the program. Thank you so much also for just always being so generous with your time to connect with prospective students who are interested in engineering and the programs here through the School of Natural Sciences at St. Edward's and other programs. Students, you guys make us really proud. You're all really incredible. We've been so grateful to have you at St. Edward's. WashU is lucky to have you. And based on kind of what you just shared in terms of what you plan to do kind of after you leave WashU, we're just really proud of all that you plan to do and will do as you contribute moving forward in your professional lives and your personal lives. So thank you so much for being here. It's great to connect with you. Students, thank you so much for participating today as you're watching this webinar. And again, you can see Dr. Walter's information on the screen as well as the contact information for the admission office. So if you have any questions about how to apply to the university or scholarships or coming to visit campus or something specific to the engineering program, we certainly look forward to connecting with you. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.